Okay, it's May 9th, 2022. Corey Angle here, another talking to myself video. A few things in the media on YouTube popped up. I guess today there was some sort of threat from the head of the Russian space agency, Dmitry Rogozin, towards Elon Musk, basically calling him a Nazi, trying to portray Musk as a bad guy. And if anybody pays attention to the Russians, and especially their current government, they're a bunch of, they're filth, they're pieces of shit, bunch of freaking assassins. You know, anybody that opposes them, they try to kill them. I think Elon Musk has a very serious threat on his hands, not just from the Russians, but from big oil itself. And the reason I say this is because look at Elon's businesses. You know, who stands to lose if Elon is successful with Tesla and SpaceX and Solar City? It's big oil. And there's trillions and trillions of dollars that will be lost. And this makes me think back to the late 1980s. You know, first you had Pons and Fleischmann researching cold fusion, and in my opinion, the media did their best to discredit those guys, basically drive them out of the country. And I know they drove at least one of those guys out of the country. And you know, when you have a technology that threatens the existing geoeconomic political power base, they're gonna do everything they can to stop it. And when I say they, I'm talking big oil. And I believe that Russia is part of big oil now. That's Putin's goal. That's what everything is in Ukraine is about. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Who's controlling the flow? Who's making the money? Who retains the power? And even here in the U.S., I've talked about it in some of my previous videos. I look at our energy industry in this country, and the world for that matter, as a communistic business entity. It's centralized control. You know, you really don't have an alternative other than Tesla or trying to get your own solar panels, which, you know, they do everything to stymie that. They make it hard for the average American person to do that. They do everything they can to limit their competition. And I think things are getting to the point where they'll go back to their old ways of doing things, and that's just knocking people off, taking them out. This is what they do. You know, big oil, they're the best, most successful businessmen in world history. Seriously. And now here's a man, Elon Musk, that threatens that. It's going to take away their power and their influence. You know, Elon Musk's goal is to make everybody energy independent, truly energy independent, meaning you have solar on your own house, you power your own car. This takes away all their money. I hope people wake the hell up, and I hope to God nothing happens to Elon Musk. If something happens to him, man, it's like, what the hell? Who's going to stop these guys? It's ridiculous. You know, I touched on Pons and Fleischmann, you know, and then right after Pons and Fleischmann, you had James Patterson. This is a guy that worked for DuPont, and he invented the dry lubricant on gloves, surgical gloves. They were little spheres. Ted Koppel did a piece on them. It's on YouTube. You can find it. And Patterson, he actually obtained a patent, the Patterson Power Cell. And some people were saying this is a cold fusion device, but what Patterson's claim was, for every watt that you put in, you got something like 100 watts out. You know, goes against everything, and as far as the laws of thermodynamics are concerned, you can't get more power out than you put in. But with his device, he did. And the U.S. Patent Office granted him a fucking patent. But here's what's interesting. On that patent, one of the names listed was George H. Miley from the University of Illinois. And George Miley, he's like 93 or 94 years old. I actually called him back in 2003, and I spoke to him about this. Patterson and Ted Koppel described this guy as Patterson's grandson. His name was Jim Redding, Reding, I think is how you spell his name. James Redding, Jim Redding. And Redding was Patterson's grandson. Now, I don't know if it was his grandson biologically, or if Redding had married Patterson's granddaughter, but there was a family connection. And Patterson and Redding formed SETI, C-E-T-I, Clean Energy Technologies Incorporated, and they were in negotiations with Motorola to start producing this power cell, the Patterson Power Cell. And at the time, Redding was 30 years old. And I learned this from speaking to George Miley on the phone. Redding was 30 years old. He had like 2 or 3 kids, I believe. And I think he also lived down in Florida with Patterson or around Patterson. And then mysteriously, Redding has a heart attack and dies. He's gone. He's gone. And James Patterson, the grandfather, this guy's retired from DuPont. He's a multimillionaire. And during his Ted Koppel segment, he's saying, you know, I was tinkering around and I'm pretty sure I achieved, you know, more power output than that's in. He's like, I'm not doing it for the money. And he wasn't doing it for the money. But take a look at who would have suffered if that technology would have went through. It was big oil. Jesus Christ. They would have lost everything, their business, overnight. They would have lost all their political power and influence, all their money, power, and influence if people had a Patterson Power Cell. And I kind of draw a parallel here with Elon Musk. I know Elon Musk isn't doing an over Unity device or anything like that. It's just solar panels and batteries. But damn, man, he's giving these guys a run for their fucking money. And they're going to fucking off them. I know it. The sons of bitches that they are. Just pisses me off. If anybody else has any opinions, if anybody listens, let me know what you think. In my opinion, the bad guys are big oil. The CEO of ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, Shell, Royal Dutch Shell, all these fucking faggots that keep driving the price up on us and taking our money. They're the sons of bitches that need offed. Same thing with fucking Putin and all of his cronies. Get them the fuck out of there. And as far as our government's concerned, Biden, Trump, these guys aren't any better. They just freaking, they stand up for whoever's paying them. And in our case, it's always big oil and the unions. That's my rant for today. Take it easy. Bye.